good afternoon. How are you doing? We are doing an Ignore Me basket today. But before we get on to that, have you bought in the sale yet? It's on until 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. We have been cutting for 2 days now, so it's, you know, a lot of you have taken us up on it. 25% off anything that's on the website. So people are now starting to do haberdashery as well. There's the fat quarter bundles and all of those. They're all 25% off as well. So treat yourself. Go and treat yourself. Even if you buy it now and put it away for Christmas, you know, as part of Christmas presents, so you get what you want. So keep shopping. Keep shopping. Hi Claire, I'm still broken. Claire came down and we went to Cardiff Castle to see the chicks, and I stood up all the time. Now I'm so unbendy, but I'm going to start. I walked to work today. Now, if anybody knows where I live and where the shop is, it's like 1,500 steps to the shop. And I normally take the car because I've always got stuff to bring and carry, and I make all these excuses. And so this morning I decided no more excuses. I walked to work. So I will walk home later, although Dave did say come pick me up if I couldn't stand. So I'm walking. So big for me. This time, I think it was before COVID, we did a sponsored walk, and I walked every day then, and I did feel better for it. So I'm trying to do that. I don't know how long it'll last, but we'll give it a go. So hiya Claire, and there's Helen and Karen. How are you? How's the weather in South Africa, Karen? It's trying to be sunny. Apparently it rained all night last night, because I said I wish it would rain and get it over with, and Sarah said it did rain. It rained a lot on at 9 o'clock, and again at 3 o'clock in the morning she had to close her windows because it was so rainy. I don't remember any of that, so never mind. Eileen, how you doing? We've done your order, that's in the post bag, and no steps for you. Knee tells me a big no. Oh yeah, my knees are okay. It's my hips and my lower back. They get tight because I sit or stand. So I'm going to do some more movements. Otherwise I'll be back at the chiropractor and they'll give me exactly the same exercises they gave me last time, and I'd have to pay for that. So I'm going to start the exercises without them. Right. An Ignore Me basket. Can anybody think of what an Ignore Me basket would be? Where do you normally see stuff that people walk past umpteen times a day and they just completely ignore it? So, the stairs. And it's big. Look how big it is. I measured my, it is big, but it fits on my stairs. So I measured my stairs and they were 8 by 8. So that's the first thing that you're going to have to do. I know my friend Liz, her stairs will be smaller because I can't get my feet on her stairs. So I know they're not 8 by 8. And I think the house we've got in Barry, their stairs would be smaller. So you need to measure your stairs first. Okay. So I was working on 8 by 8. Okay. So all my measurements are on that. So we are going to make this. There is a pattern in the offing. Okay. So I am trying to get that written. However, it's been busy, and I started to write it last night and I was like this, so we went to bed. Right, fabric. Fabric. There's a carry bag. You could probably make this with a charm pack. There's no reason why you can't put a charm pack together because it's about the same size. So so just remember that when you're doing charm packs. Now I have made the inside, the lining, and I've also made the bosal bit. We'll talk you through that, but I was going to show you no, I'm not. I haven't got it all. Yeah, I have. Be one of those weeks. I'm looking at it. I'm thinking I haven't got enough fabric here. That's not going to work. So we'll talk you through this, right? Okay. Let's go over here. An upstairs bag. We liked the Ignore Me bag because it makes you think, what could that be? Right, so go over onto the 3. Okay, so I have cut 18-inch squares. Okay, I've cut the 18-inch squares. I used batiks before, which didn't have a right side and a wrong side. So I made sure that I chose a fabric. I'm hoping Meg's going to like this. She said purple, but then didn't come in and choose a purple. So I'm going with this. So there's a definite wrong side and right side so that you can see what I'm doing. Okay. So it's 18 by 18 and I'm going to cut out a 9-inch square in the corner. Okay. So you've got to make sure that they're right sides together, or it's not very straight there. I don't think it's going to matter much. You've got to make sure that you cut them out. They're either right sides together or wrong sides together. Okay. That way you know that you've got a mirror image. You need the mirror image. Now, I've gone on 18, even though my stairs are 8 by 8, I've gone on 18 because I'm going to use a 1/2 inch seam allowance. Okay, so you just want to cut out the square. Okay, that worked quite well. Unfortunately, you're not going to use that, but it's a good size for something. Okay. We also cut out an 18 by 9 piece. Okay, so that's your front, and I have a 36 by 9. Okay, which is 9999. Okay, so first things that we're going to do is we're going to sew our front piece and our underbelly together first. Okay, so you're just going to put them right sides together on a short end. Do you know my cutting skills are atrocious? Look at that. I don't know which one's which. Which one's the atrocious one? I think it's the one on the bottom. Let's have a look. So we're going to have a quick look. 9. Neither of them are a 9. Look at that. I'm going to take that corner off though. There. I think it's because I don't have, I was using the mat. Right, so we're going to go over to the machine and do this. So what's this doing? Let's get rid of that. There we go. So where are we? 4. Right, we're going to try not to break Sarah's machine. She is a beautiful looking machine, mind. So we're just going to, oh, that's what I didn't tell you. You need to mark it 1/2 inch in. We're going to sew it together half an inch in. Okay, so we're gonna do that. Can you see that? Yeah. So I want half an inch. I'm going to start at half an inch and I'm going to finish at half inch, which is there. Okay, because when we come to put this onto the other piece, you really want to be right. I need to work out how to put the foot down now. There we go. Right. Oh, that's where I get it wrong. There we go. Right. Okay, and it's done a lock stitch for me. And we're just going along at half an inch seam allowance. So I've picked half an inch on here, I measured it earlier, and it's lining up with my, it's quiet, this machine, isn't it? How do I go backwards? That one? No. How do you go backwards? Okay. Okay, you don't need to do that then, Sarah. You just need to press cut and it'll do a lock stitch for you. Right, okay. Now we know. Now we know. Okay, so 3. Good purple choice. Yeah, well, Meg likes the purple. Right, okay, so I've sewn up here. I haven't got quite a half an inch on the end, but it'll we'll work around that. So I'm just going to take one of my pieces, okay, one of my pieces, and I'm going to line up this seam that I've just done, right? So that bit's going to be the open piece. This will sit against the back stair, and this will come down along, you know, in front of the stairs. So this is my front. So we need to measure the short piece, the 18 by 9. We're going to line it up like that so that it lines up with the bottom piece. The bottom of your, where the what's that called? The seam lines up with your front piece of your sides, okay? And we are just going to, one clip in there. I didn't bother clipping at home. We're going to do this, but I will do a pattern at some point. So we're just going to sew all the way down here, and you're going to stop half an inch away from the end, which should be where you stopped last time. You're going to start at the top, okay? Where am I? So I'm going back to 4. Okay. Bye, Karen. Take care. Right, we're going to line that up there. Now we're starting right at the top. Okay. I don't like that the needle doesn't go. I don't know how to put the needle down. Okay. Right. Okay, so we're sewing at half inch. I'm following that line again. There. And we're going along. Just keep adjusting set. So we're lining all that up along here. Okay. So we went to Sandown. I'm sure Sarah has told you all about it. And I bought an overlocker. I'm totally blaming Diane Parsons and Sian Morse for asking me about it, so that I went and spoke to Sam. Okay, I think we might have the measure of this. Right, I went to talk to Sam, who works for J&B, and said, how much would a Baby Lock Inspire be? Because we'd spoken about it the night before. We did a quiz, and she said that's the one that she would have. So they told me how much it was, and then I spent the day thinking about it. Not very hard, because pretty much I'd already made up my mind. So I now am the proud owner of a Baby Lock Inspire, which is sitting on my table, and I've not even been able to have a look at it. So you can all imagine how that is. So once I know how to work it, we'll do a demonstration, and you can see, because a lot of you out there have talked about having an overlocker and everything. So give me some time to work out how. I mean, this thing, people say, oh, it's the threading that is the problem, but apparently you just put the end of the thread in a hole, press a button, and it goes and blows it or sucks it through. So I'm very excited to see that bit. So I'll keep you updated as I go along, she says, with all the hand movements. Right, so we've sewn the front on. Okay, so we've got to the seam here. Okay, got to the seam, and we're going to take this seam and pull it so that it sits over here, out the way. That's where we want it, out the way. Don't have to do it neat. And you're going to measure the 1/2 inch. Going to measure 1/2 inch from this is the bottom step floor. I'm going to have to come up with names for these, right? And I'm going to put my 1/2 inch ruler on there, 1/2 inch, so that I can mark where I want to stop. Okay, there. Right. So I'm going to sew now down here from where I stopped all the way down to this half inch mark here. All right, you're with me so far? Oh, wrong camera. Okay, let's start again. Is that right? Have I put the right one on now? Right, I have sewn to 1/2 inch from the end there. I'm going to take where my seam is, I'm going to take that out of the way up there, right, so that the next bit of my underbelly is lying against the bottom, the very bottom, the bit that's going to sit on the bottom step. Okay, and there's my 1/2 inch mark there, and I've just made another one here. So I measured from 1/2 inch from the bottom fabric. So I've got to sew from here to there. All right. So we're going to go along here. Stick that in there so it stays. Okay, so back over here. Okay. You've got the Baby Lock Gloria. I've got an Inspire. So we shall see whether I do get inspired. FNAF. Right, okay. So off we go. I ought to try the locking stitch one on my machine and get used to that. Okay, so we're going to stop there, cut it so it gives me a lock stitch. Okay, so that's that bit. So we are 3. So we are coming up here. Okay. And we're just going to keep moving this around. Oh, before we do that, let's have some scissors. Where this mark is here, you're going to put in a little split like that. Okay, so we're going to put that split in there, all right, so that when we turn the corner like that, it comes with us. Okay, so it leaves a neat little rectangle there, and we're going to come along here. Right, now this time we want to measure our 1/2 inch after the corner. So we're going to come up here. So we're going to take our 1/2 inch like that. We're going to measure it so it lines up with this next piece here, and we're going to measure the 1/2 inch after it to there. All right. So we're going to put a mark on there. All right. Put that so that stays still. So you want to line it, make sure it's all lined up, and we're going to sew to here. So off we go. So we go from our mark here. You want to make sure it's all lined up. Okay, so I'm going to lock stitch there. I'm going to keep sewing all the way down to the other mark. So I thought I've got all these patterns, because I mean, I know we all collect fabric, but I have all these patterns that I've been collecting that I want to try. And I've got, come on, I want one more stitch, there you go. So I've got all these patterns that I want to try, so we're going to have a go with those. And just see whether I can get rid of some of the fabric that I've been collecting. Right, so where our mark that we've made, the 1/2 inch after our corner, you're going to snip it there. None of Sarah's have got good, Sarah's scissors have got good end snippy. Right, so we're now going to twist this and bring this round to line up. Now you could put a bit of bias tape, is it, or sticky masking tape type stuff if you wanted to, which would hold it in place. Okay, so you want to make sure that everything is flat underneath. We're going to want to go from as close to that mark as we possibly can, and keeping it all straight. So we're going to put a clip in there. I'm going to come along here. So you could put a bit of sticky that within the seam allowance. You've got 1/2 inch after all, just to hold it in place if that's what you would prefer. Okay, so we're now going to sew from this point to this point there. Do you get the point? Okay, here we go. That's all right, Jean. You can always catch up later. You can ask Eileen to borrow her homework. We're doing an on the stairs basket thing. So we're going to put the foot there, and I think that's about right. And we're going to what did that do? Did I cut it? I think I cut it. I didn't put the foot down, I cut it. Hang on. Press the wrong button. Foot down. Okay, here we go. So I'm making sure that nothing is folded underneath. There you go. I must have cut it rather than use the put my foot down button. Okay. No, what's it doing? He don't want you to do that. Okay. Okay, we're just going along to this point here. No, stop it! Okay, we'll have to do. Right. So we have now come to this point here, and we have the last point going up here. So we're just cutting another split there so that we can bring this round for the last piece. Okay, like that. Okay, now we're just going to sew straight off the end because we don't need a 1/2 inch. So we're going to start at this 1/2 inch piece here, point here, and just sew our 1/2 inch seam allowance all the way to the end. If this thing will let me. Okay, this is why I don't like driving other people's cars, because I have no idea what they're doing. Okay. I don't want to stop. I don't want to stop because it'll cut it again. Oh, it didn't cut it that time. I think there's a bit on the foot or something. Maybe. Right. Okay. There we have one side. All right. Now, this one round here, sometimes you'll get the stitches showing. It'll all depend on how well your point is by there. Now we're going to do this now on the other side. Okay, so we are starting this side. Oops, sorry. But we are going to be doing it the other way round. Okay, so there's our front. So we need to work out that this is going to go that way. All right, and we're working with our side piece on the top this time. So you're going to have to look underneath when you want to find your points to stop. This first one is easy because we're just going to go from top to bottom. Okay, so back to the 4. Make sure that we're in the right place. Foot down. Okay. So just keep that going. So have we had our summer or is it coming back? Sarah's off next week, so I'm hoping that she gets some sunshine. So we went all the way down to our seam at the bottom. Okay. Right. So over here. It's warm and sunny there. Oh, have you been on the beach, Claire? Right, so we have our bottom piece, so we're going to slide this around, you know, where our seam is, there, and we're going to come along here. I'm going to just stick our thingies in. And we're going to stop half an inch from the end. Okay, so half an inch from the end. There, we're going to stop sewing there. Okay, so just like before. You didn't see me put that in, sorry, not reading my cameras. Okay, so we're starting here, so we've moved it all, move all your excess fabric out of the way so it's not sitting underneath your, where you're going to put your needle. If in doubt, use the same colour thread as your fabric. It's a little bit more forgiving. Okay, so that seems to be over quite a bit. So this is a bit like driving an automatic after you've been doing a manual for so long. Okay, come on, I want one stitch, that's it. Right, so with this one, because we're manoeuvring this, the underbelly fabric, the middle fabric, we need to put the cut in that rather than in your side piece. You know, like we did on the other one, where the underbelly was on the top. Well, now we need to do it because it's underneath, so you still need to snip that one. Okay, so make sure that you're snipping the right one because otherwise it's not going to work. So you're going to turn this and come along here. Now we need to measure our 1/2 inch. You can go along and measure all these 1/2 inches before you start, if that's what you wanted to do, so you don't have to keep stopping. I mean, some people are going to be clever enough that they don't, you know, especially if you make a few of these, you'll be able to come across and then without stopping to maneuver your fabric and straight down. So we are now measuring up our underbelly with our side piece. This is the bit that goes up the bottom step. Okay, so I'm just going to put one there, put another one there, so that this is together, and we're going to make sure that all this is lying flat underneath, and we're going to sew to this point here, which goes beyond our corner. Okay, you're sewing in the cabin. Well, as long as it's nice and warm out in the cabin, that would be lovely. I could do with a beach. I could do with sitting on a beach, looking at the waves. Okay, I've managed to get that straight on top of the little pink mark. That doesn't sound right. Why doesn't that sound right? It's sewing all right. I think I've got a bit of fabric stuck, caught in something. I don't know. Okay. I think my long line got caught. Okay, let's start that again. Okay, here we go. That sounds better. It's amazing how you learn the sounds of different machines, isn't it? I mean, you know, you can hear sometimes when Daphne's running, you can hear when the bobbin drops out or runs out. There's just a change in the noise. There we go. Okay. So again, you want to cut on you want to cut on your bottom piece, because that's the bit we're manoeuvring. So I've flipped it out and I'm just going to cut just there, not on your stitches but near your stitches, and we're going to come along here. So this was the difficult manoeuvring one, making it all sit flat. So we know it's going to come to there, so we're going to pin that in there. I'm going to stick another one in there, like that. And we're just going to make sure that this all sits out of the way. We watched the Sewing Bee finally last night, so that we caught up. Some of those dresses were lovely. I liked the neoprene one. I loved the one that they did. It was, I do hope you've all watched it. What day is it? Oh no, it was last night, wasn't it? So, okay, this needs pulling down. I can see the benefit of sticking this, you know, of putting a bit of double-sided tape to hold it down. So we're trying to make all that flat there. Like that. I'm pulling that along there, like that. And we're going to mark our 1/2 inch coming in there. Like that. I mean, you could just go round all the corners and mark your 1/2 inches, couldn't you? Okay, so we're going to manoeuvre this now, and we're going to try and go from this spot up here, which is not lying flat. So we're going to go from there and work our way down. Just manoeuvring it behind, make sure that I've got it. Okay. So I'm going to go under here. Okay. So I'm going to take these out because I'm better off manoeuvring it as I'm going. I think some of my seam allowances have gone bigger than they really need to be. If you've got a guide is probably a good idea. Okay. We're nearly there, kids. So we're on the last bit. So we're going to trim that, put a nick in there, like that. Oh, no, it's not that one, it's that one. And then we're going to twist it. We've put a nick by the dot, and then we're going to twist that like that. And so from our end there, right up to the end. Okay, so we'll go back to the 4. So from our dot right to the end. Okay, make sure it's all lined up. Okay, so we have now our sock. It's a bit like a sock, isn't it? So we're going to turn that out the right way. I mean, you can clip your corners if you want. We're on a time restraint. And push all your corners out. Now you're going to repeat this with your lining, okay? Now I've made my lining slightly smaller because in the original my lining's quite baggy. It's not going to matter, it's sitting on the stairs, but if you want it to sit a little bit tighter, I would do it maybe 1/2 inch smaller, or cut it out at the same size and do a bigger again seam allowance. And with the bozal, I also cut that smaller. You probably don't need to. I would cut that the same size. I don't know what I did with the bozal. I have cobbled it together with all little bits of basil that I had at home because I couldn't be bothered to get back in the car and go and fetch some. So my basil is here. My bottom bits with the basil I have done in sections. Okay, so each piece of this is a different section because that's how I could cut it out. However, I think if you look at it, my seam, because I'm going that way, my seam is here. My in corners, like that, my seam's on the inside, so that worked quite well. However, the seam's on the wrong side on the top there. Like I said, I did it about 4 times because I could not find pieces of basil to fit. So we're just going to sit the basil inside the outer sock. Okay, so we're going to go in here. I'm going to shove that down there, like that. Oh, before we do that, handles. You could put the handles on at any point. You could put the handles on so that it went through the basil, I suppose. Would probably be quite good. So we're trying to put the basil into the corners like this. So we're fitting this in. So you want your edges to meet your edges. Like this. See, it's still too big. Anyway, so I'm going to put it onto front facing, I think. So you're going to put this into here, and then you need to line it all up and pin it, I would. Now, probably your best bet now is to go around the top and put like a stay stitch all the way round, so that holds that in place. Okay. Now, I'm not going to do it on Sarah's machine because I worry about breaking it. So I would go round and put in a stay stitch all the way round. Okay. It's not too bad. It's not too bad. Look. See? It's very big. So get it all into the corners, pin it, and then you're going to take your inside lining, you're going to put the lining on the inside, funnily enough. So that is going to go in there, like that. And again, pin that all in place. Okay, pin that all in place like that. And this will all sit in there all neatly, like that. Now you're going to need to manipulate it. I am having trouble because I can't manipulate it. It's so big that I can't manipulate it where you can see it. And then we go binding. So you would just put it around the top like you would a quilt. Okay. You want your raw edges to your raw edges. So you go raw edge to raw edge. Right. So you want to make sure that all of these raw edges are all lined up. Okay, I want to make sure that all of those are all lined up, which if you've pinned it and put it into place, it will be. Now I then would just flop it over. You can either hand stitch it or just stick it back through the machine and go through. Does that make sense without me doing it? Thank you. And your straps, I put these straps on. I put them on with the cross in a square, and I put them on before I put the bosal in. Okay, I measured 4 inches from there. In fact, I did it before I put anything together. I measured 4 inches in, 3 inches down. Okay, you're going to put this bit in and then leave all this bit free. Once I'd finished all of it, as I was going round and putting the top stitch, because I stitched it on with the machine rather than hand stitching. It's going on the stairs. I stitched into it as well, so my straps are more stable. You're actually pulling on all of the fabric and the bosal with the straps. You know, you don't. The whole point is it's not going to be really heavy to fill and take up, but you just want to grab your straps and go. So there's the Ignore Me basket. So I will put that together and finish that for Meg over the weekend. If you've got any questions, please do ask. Measure your stairs and go from there. Okay, you want this side and this side and that side and that side need to all be the same, and then you work it out. You want double whatever that is. So if your stairs are 6 by 6, you want to be doing a 12. If you make it any smaller, it's going to overbalance, because you want this bit to actually sit on the stairs. Okay, you want it to actually sit on the stairs. This bit, it just made it very big, but you could get away with making this bit shorter. Okay, but then why would you? It takes about a metre. You have little bits left over, but you need a metre of lining and a metre of outside. But looking at it, you might be able to use a charm pack. So I would sew it together, you know, like you do with the carry bag. You sew them all together into an 18 by 18 square and see how that goes. And then you need, I would say you just need ones on that front piece. No, it would be that bit, wouldn't it? So you need there and maybe both sides. But if you're going to have it on one side of the stairs, you could do this with charm packs and or orphan blocks or something, and this with, and this bit would be plain because that's the bit that goes against my wall. Just a few more ideas. I will endeavour to write a pattern, because we could take it on Hochanda then. So if the pattern is done, any problems, give me a ring, all right? And I will try and explain it. I didn't forget too many words today. I am going to turn all the electrics off now, and I'm going to go back over the shop and I'm going to have my burger salad. We bought burgers from the butchers. If you ever come to Dinas Powys, make sure you go round and have a look at the butchers, right? It's run by the people, well, the deli is run by the people that own the butchers, but the butcher's has undergone a transformation, and you, oh my goodness, you should see the stuff they've got in there. I went in there for tea and I couldn't make up my mind. We had pepper sauce burgers last night, and I've got beef and Stilton burgers for lunch, and then tonight we've got chicken stuffed with sausage meat and nacho cheese in a crumb coating, and that was instead of the salami stuffed chicken breasts that were further down. And oh, the stuff they do is amazing. Can't wait. I'm drooling now. I'm going to go and eat the custard slice. You did get a custard slice, did you, Claire? Yeah, custard slices are the best I've ever had. I'm not a bit, I like patisserie custard, but I'm not a big custard slice person. But they are the best custard slices ever. They're made by a lady in Barry, I think. Cake's not bad either, and you know I like a bit of cake. So I'm off. I will see you next week. You've got me next week because Sarah's away. Probably will have to do an evening one. So really this would have been better for an evening one, and we could have done it complete. So I've no idea what I'm going to do. We shall work it out. And if not, I'll see you sometime next week. Bye!